Let's get into it. This is the trippy one. This is, well, I think the one of the rougher ones to get your mind around that's left in this class. But you can do it. It's just a problem or two, maybe. So here we go. No biggie. It starts off super innocuous. It's mellow. It's not going to hurt you. Just says solve the triangle. It's got the same stuff. It gives angle B, and side C, just like we did in the last video. Except this one's gonna turn into more. So we're gonna go through. We wanna solve, but here's the trick. We're actually describing two triangles. While you're doing a problem like this, your odds are you're not gonna know that it's two triangles right off the bat. You might suspect. This is me already knowing and trying to explain to you why we might end up with two triangles. So the only information that's given to us is we given the angle. And then the two sides opposite, or the two sides adjacent. So angle, side, side. Angle, side, side. It's the same thing. But the difference being is this side here. This side 3. Is it going to swing this way? Or is it going to come in and swing this way and just make that part of a triangle? Hence this one. That 3, it's like a little dangler hanging off. It could swing back and forth. It could swing back and forth and create an angle. But what this is going to do is it's going to create an angle here. I'm going to call it C. Weird, because that's where C goes. And then over here, I'm going to write a different angle in. I'm going to call it C, but I'm going to give it a little star. And let's just talk about these two angles. Well, C, not greater than, C is less than 90 degrees. It's an acute angle. It's within the range of sine inverse. Because sine inverse does not understand angles that are larger than 90 degrees. Sine inverse does not understand angles that are larger than 90 degrees. So our C star over here, that's greater than 90 degrees. Sine inverse would never be able to tell you what that angle is. You would have to use some work. Fortunately, C star, its reference angle is C. It's equal to 180 degrees minus C. Remember that if you were to have an angle in the second quadrant, like 135 degrees? What's the reference angle? Isn't that 180 minus 135 to give you 45? 180 minus the reference angle? We're going to be back for that. So there's the beginning. There's the beginning. So we're going to solve this as if we have no clue. We're going to pretend that this is the only triangle we have for right now. So let's get into it. Let's get into it, knowing what we know now. So we're going to need to go find side A, and we're going to need to go get angle A. So let's run through it. So we're going to use our given ratio to start off. We're going to say sine of that 35 degrees over the 3. You know, that 3, that thing that could swing back and forth, but this length is set. Now A varies depending on where it's swinging, but what do we go for first? And I think we have no choice but to go for that C. So we're going to set it up as a sine of C over that 4, and we're going to try and isolate that angle C. But the only way we're going to be able to get that angle out of the argument is to hit it with a sine inverse, which only understands angles less than 90 degrees, or 90 or less. So let's multiply by 4 on both sides, and we're going to get 4 times sine of 35 degrees over 3 is equal to sine of C. And how do we get the angle out of the argument? I keep repeating it. We're going to hit it with an inverse. And one more time, sine inverse does not understand angles larger than 90 degrees. So we say that C is going to be equal to, let me write it over here, there's our sine inverse of 4 times sine of 35 degrees all over 3. And once we go to punch it in the calculator, let's keep it consistent. I think it's 49.89 degrees. And we got it. Now that kind of makes sense for up here, huh? That that acute angle to have a 49.9 or 0.89, oops, 0.89 degrees? Sure. But this is where we would have to do a check. There's this little check to see if we need to mess around with the second triangle. And here it comes. Once you've found these two angles in this situation, we now need to look at C star. We need to take a look. So here's going to be our check. Here is the check for two triangles. We're going to take the given angle, 35 degrees, and we're going to add it to C star. You know, like C star, you need to be able to take this and go plug it in for C. I know it's a lot. It's a freaking lot. We're going to be like, all right, so our C star is equal to 180 minus 49.89 degrees. And we're like, okay, what's that going to be? Like 180 minus 49.89. We're like, well, that's going to be our C star is equal to 130.11 degrees. So we're going to take that and add it up. We'll take the given angle plus whatever we found for C star, and we're going to add it up. And if it's less than 180 degrees, you have two triangles. 35 plus 130 is 165. It's less than 180. You got two frickin' triangles. And that's your check for two triangles. So we see, for this case, we absolutely do. We have two frickin' triangles. Well, you knew that from the very beginning that we had two triangles. So there was that game. So now that we know it, we've already found our C star. It's 130.11. We found it right here. All the weird is done. It's over. Now you just have to do twice the frickin' work. All right, so we'll be back for this one in a second. First, we're going to solve this one. Now that we have that piece of information, now that we know that our C was 49.89, now we can just go solve for A, right? Isn't that just 180 minus the remaining angles, or the given angles? I believe that our angle A is now going to become approximately 95.11 degrees. The sum of the interior angles adds up to 180, and now we're back to that initial step of how we would do the law of sines. So we're going to set up our ratio as always. We got our sine of 35 over that 4, it's 3, my bad, over that 3 is equal to, so there was this one for this one, and now we just want to set up this one over that. Yeah, buddy. So we go sine of that 95.11 degrees all over that A we're looking for. And now we just go get into it and do a little cross multiplication. I'm going to speed up here. I'm assuming you're starting to catch the steps. And A is going to be equal to 3 times sine of 95.11 degrees over sine of 35 degrees, which is going to give us approximately, we're done with that after we calculate this, 95.11, use a parenthesis, calculate enter, divided by sine of 35, and I get approximately 5.21. There we be, we got it. We solved this one out. 5.21. It's all done. We solved the triangle. But that's only one. We got to solve the other. We've already done the hard work. We're just going to jump in. We're going to do the same process. We have to go get this angle right here. Angle A. We got to go get side A. But it's not a big deal. We're going to go get angle A for free, aren't we? Isn't that going to be 35 plus 130.11, and you take that away from 180, and you're left with 14.89 up there? Well, 14.89 degrees. Dope. Now we just set it up and go get A. We're pretty much home free. So we're going to set up that common ratio, that sine of 35 over that 3, that same one we continue to use over and over, that given one that's not rounded. We set it equal to, we're going to say, sine of that 14.89 degrees all over our new little a that we're going to have there. I don't care if you use a subscript or anything. But let's solve. A times sine of 35 is equal to 3 times sine of 14.89. We divide it over, and A is equal to 3 times sine of 14.89 degrees, all over sine of 35 degrees. We punch it into a calculator, and oh my gosh, we're about freaking done with this. Isn't that nice? These problems are just kind of tedious, but once you get it down, they're not that bad. It's usually just fat fingers that is my struggle. That's where I struggle. Like right now, I'm trying to punch this in while doing it, and I can't get my decimal points in, and buttons are sticking, and I think I got approximately 1.34. So we go in, we're like, there it is. We've solved both triangles. We've got them both, and there's the information. It's a tricky one. Get your practice. You'll have a couple of them, and I will see you in the next case.